Hi there, Zam here for NerdTube. These are my thoughts and spoilers of Back in Action, which came out this year in 2025, starring Cameron Diaz, Jamie Foxx, and the legendary Glenn Close. This is a spy action comedy, and the synopsis is quite simple, really. Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz are a couple of spies who fall in love on the job. Their love leads to Cameron Diaz being pregnant whilst on that job, and then whilst doing that job, they almost die, but they do survive. But because they almost die, they use that opportunity to go off the grid because people will assume that they've been killed, and they start a new life where they can bring up now their two children together and hopefully live happily ever after. Now, being off the grid in a social media sort of day era is very difficult, and unfortunately for our two retired spies, they get caught on social media, which means that the rest of the world who wanted them dead are now coming back after them again. But this time around, not only do they have to, look after themselves, they have to look after their kids from being killed as well. And that's where all the antics happen. Their kids have no idea who their mum and dad really is because they have to constantly lie to their children, so their children don't realize they're spies. But eventually the cat does come out the bag. There's moments in the film where Cameron Diaz's mother has been brought up on several occasions, so we do know that she's definitely going to play a part in this film. And when we finally do see her, I was expecting Helen Mirren. I mean, who else? Helen Mirren seems to be the mother of everybody nowadays. Okay, it's going to be Helen Mirren who's going to be Cameron Diaz's mother, because apparently, as we find out through exposition, Cameron Diaz's mum is also a spy. But no, it's Glenn Close. Now, American women are very, very good at doing British accents, and Glenn Close has actually played a Brit before. She played Cruella de Vil, let's not forget that, twice in the Dalmatian movie. So she was a duck to water playing a Brit again in this particular movie, and her role was excellent. I did enjoy her character. A bit too pompously British, because for some reason British people don't hug. I'm a Brit, we do fucking hug. Please don't think that we don't, So I thought that was a bit weird. Regardless, her character was great. Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz are also great in this, playing a couple of parents who have to constantly lie to their kids to keep them safe, so they don't really know who they truly are, but eventually can't lie to them anymore. But at the same time, are trying to be parental to their kids, who do things that worry them. Them being spies, they are spying on their children as much as they can as they grow up. The kids themselves are very likable. I like their kids. Their daughter, you can understand she's kind of annoyed with her mum and dad because she just wants to grow up maybe a bit too soon. The son's a bit of a nerd and stuff like that, but I like him as well. They're cool characters. There's a couple of twists and turns here and there during the course of this movie regarding who you can trust and who you can't, which keeps you on your toes regarding what's going to be happening during the course of this film. But the film itself is predictable, it's cheesy, it's basic, but it's enjoyable. When you have a good cast of actors in a mediocre movie like this, then it does elevate it. There's nothing special about this film, but it's just done well. It's enjoyable, it's digestible, and you shit it out at the same fucking time. And when you're done with it, you wipe your hands with it and you move on. But whilst you're watching it, you are going to have a good time. I had a good time, which I'm kind of surprised by the reviews. This is not supposed to be an Oscar-winning movie here. I think people are overly critical of this film. Films like this are very run-of-the-mill. But they can be run-of-the-mill, and at the same time, they can be done well, that you enjoy it for what it is. I love spy films. I love spy action comedies and stuff like that. They're great stuff to watch. And this one is done in reasonably well, that by a couple of actors who, in my opinion, are a duck to water in this sort of stuff. They could do this sort of stuff with their eyes closed, which is why I had such a good time with this film, because they're great actors and they made this comedy action film very enjoyable. The action is okay in it. It's plausible, passable, but the relationships, I think, is what really makes this film so enjoyable, regarding, these guys being parents and being badasses at the same time. It's nicely interwoven, intertwined. The plot itself is alright, I guess, but I just enjoy just seeing the day-to-day moments, you know, the parental moments of our main cast. I think that's where I get most of my joy out of this film. I'm not going to give it the most superbly highest mark on the planet. I mean, that would be an injustice to what is good films. But as for this being an okay piece of entertainment that you can pass on very quickly, I would say I'll give it a 7 out of 10. It does what it's supposed to do, and it does it well, and it's not embarrassed to be what it is, you know, which is a popcorn flick. It's a simple, you know, enjoyable popcorn flick, nothing more, not overly offensive, and reasonably filmed well. And you know, some of the editing is a bit shit, I have to admit. There's one moment where you see from behind Cameron Diaz's character where she's about to hug Jamie Foxx, but then when you see behind Jamie Foxx, her arms are in a different position. So like the editing's not necessarily working well. But I can forgive that, you know, because shit like that didn't happen too often. Only once or twice from what I remember. But regardless, everything else was done reasonably well. It does leave and end with a setup for a sequel, which I wasn't surprised with regarding a movie like this. So we'll see if that happens. It is a Netflix film, so you can think of it how you want regarding that. Netflix films are not necessarily known to be great, but this one is alright. That's all I can say. It's alright, but it's above average in the mark I gave, because I think what is done alright is done well. And like I said, you just have to watch this film with your brain switched off and just enjoy the ride. When you got somebody like Jamie Foxx at the helm, you're going to have a good time. You got someone like Cameron Diaz, who's a very, very underrated actress. You're going to have a good time. And even Glenn Close, you know, like she's so good at doing serious stuff, but she's also really good, you know, comedically as well when she has to be. And her British grandma role was a bit over the top, but still, nevertheless, it was alright. So yeah, 7 out of 10 is what I give it. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to NerdTube, the greatest social media channel you never heard of. Take care. Bye bye.